I don't think I'm gonna do this. I'm not sure anymore. If I'm not 100% sure, I'm 90% sure. And it sounds like if I'm 90% sure, then this isn't gonna work, and we're just gonna keep going back and forth. If you can't tell, my mind's like in a jumble right now, trying to process all this, and I do want to do this, but I do want a day to think about it. All
Mhm.
right, let's do it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, sure. Venture. I just wanted to.
In this video, you're gonna watch me close a $8,800 deal live. And the call was with a prospect that was ice cold and gave me an I need to think about it objection that I ended up overcoming and then closing the deal. I'm not gonna waste your time by showing you every little second of this entire call. So instead, I've timestamped some key parts of the call I'm gonna be covering in this video. Alright, so we're gonna start this call review at the part right after I presented the program for this prospect. Because in this specific part, I did a lot of minor things that you're going to be able to take away from this video, stuff that I did to make sure that this guy was not going to have any uncertainty about the program specifically, and basically just asking certain questions in a certain way to vet out all the uncertainty, make sure he's actually confident about the program before we move into the actual investment in the price. That's going to allow us to pre-handle a lot of objections.
Do you find? I mean, I know this might be a tough question, but how often or how long does it usually take for someone to find an opportunity? Is it? I guess it would be by day 60, right?
Yeah, between 4 to 6 days.
Okay.
That's average.
Okay.
Yeah. When I look like this, like, so we have like once in a while have someone like I spoke with a girl about
Cool.
like so first takeaway here, basically what I did at this point, I presented the entire program. As you can see, I'm sharing my screen here. I'm basically just walking you through like what the entire program is, like on a Google Doc, and also like obviously explaining to him how it all works. After I've done that, the first thing I do is I ask him the question of like, okay, what questions do you have about the program? You know, I just want to vet out everything, all questions he has about the process. Want to vet him out, make sure he's actually confident about it, and there's no uncertainty on the program. So I ask him a couple of different things. You will see how I do this in a second to make sure he's confident about the program before we move into the investment. And when he asked me something, I gave him a quick, short reply, straight to the point. A lot of people in high ticket sales make the mistake of just like starting to ramble like crazy whenever they get a question. And what happens when you do that, when someone asks you something, you just start over explaining it, it starts giving them new, like it starts opening up new loops in their own head. You know, they start thinking about like maybe I'm wondering about this thing that he said or this thing and that thing. You know, so you want to keep your answers as short and concise. Obviously, you want to answer the question that he's asking you and not just be like a dick and just like ignore the question. Obviously, but you want to give short, condensed answers because that's going to allow people to just like stay on track and not have these all these new uncertainty and new objections come up that just comes when you over explain stuff. So that's a key note. You will see me do this over and over again, where I give short, pointed replies to his questions. 3 weeks ago at this point, she joined the program, started everything, and now she just joined the company like one or like 2 or 3 days ago at this point. So like some people do it faster, you know, they go through training, they commit more. Some people do it slower. But 30 to 60 days is going to be average what it takes.
Yeah, I'm gonna try. I try to go faster. I mean, like I said, I wouldn't be doing this 4 hours a day. I'd probably be more like 6 to 8 hours a day
Hmm?
that I'd be working on this.
So basically what I've done now is I've answered all of his questions. I make sure that he has no further questions and nothing that he's unsure about with the program. The next thing that I move into now is basically what we call a temp check. So a temperature check. What that means, you want to make sure that he's actually fully confident about the program being the right solution for him. And there's nothing he's uncertain about when it comes to the process, when it comes to the program being the right solution before we present the price, okay? So you're gonna hear me do this right now where I start asking him about how he feels about the program. I'm gonna use words like alignment, how do you feel about this? Do you feel like there's anything that's keeping you from being less than 100% sure about it? Ask him questions like that to make sure he's actually fully confident about the process before we even talk about price. Come on. With the process, yes, to see for you, like, because like what's really big for us, you know, like our team is alignment. You know, we really like want to make sure that everyone actually comes in here, they do this, they feel really confident about this process. Because like our coaches and our coaching staff, we really push our students. We really hold them accountable to allow them to achieve their goals. So for you, man, like on your end, in terms of what we talked about here, like how do you feel about this? Do you feel like this is actually what you need to be able to achieve your goal and get to where you want to
I
go?
like it. I
Okay.
mean, I like the challenging aspect of it. You know, that's kind of what I was looking for, something to challenge me, hold me. Like, I don't want somebody to say like, "Oh, you have, 30 days until you have to do this." Kind of like the way school works, like university. I like
Mm.
the fact that it's kind of like I want somebody to like push me, like, "Okay, you can do better. You can do more. You can and just I want to be criticized on every little thing, to be honest." So I like that aspect of it. I'm very coachable. I don't get offended.
Cool, man. Cool. That's good there. That's going to be important with this. And like, I'm curious with the process that we covered here. Like, what do you like about it the most? You mentioned like challenging. Like, what do you feel like is going to be the most like helpful thing for you specifically? As you can see here, I'm kind of pushing back on him as well because I asked the first question is pretty vague. Like, how do you feel about the process? You know, he gave a pretty general response. He's like, yeah, I'm coachable. I feel like this is like school. Okay, so not very like specific or like very like confident answer like, yes, Alex, this is exactly what I need. So that's why I keep re-asking this question in different ways, trying to like fish out more certainty from him. Okay, what do you like about this specifically? Getting him to sell me on why he should do this. That's what I'm asking right now. Getting him to just like tell me why he should do this, and then you will see what I move into after that to eliminate all uncertainty.
Of course, the coach, somebody to talk to. Whenever I have those little random questions, I don't have to go, search online and try to Google it or anything like that. I just ask somebody. I could write a list and one of my 2 conversations weekly. I could just bring it up and say, hey, I'm having trouble with this, or how should I word this, or what should I do when this happens, or if I get this objection. It's just that little part, that little aspect right there is definitely the most important to me. Because
Come on.
I'm sure, although I might not have many questions now, when I actually start applying the information and doing it and taking action, I'm sure the questions are going to come.
Yeah, definitely, 100%. Cool, man, that's good to hear. So, because I know a lot of people, like, obviously, when it comes to getting into something like this, doing something that's very different from a traditional 9 to 5, like, it can be like pretty scary for a lot of people, like, take the first step, investing into themselves. So, it's good to hear that you feel confident about this actually working out for you. That's really important.
Yeah, I'm not saying I'm going to be perfect at first. I'm sure you know that, but I am confident that I can learn.
Yeah, cool. Is there anything that you're like unsure about, like anything that you don't like with the process?
Honestly, to be 100% honest, I don't like the time. I will try to shorten it.
Cool. This is like the last question I ask here. Now we've asked him, okay, any more questions? No. How do you feel about the program? I feel good about it. I like the coaching. Okay, cool. What do you like about it specifically? Getting him to tell me on it. And then last thing, is there anything that you're unsure about? You see, like basically 4 questions that I ask right now. It's all about vetting out uncertainty. So you will still see this guy give me an I need to think about objection at the end that I end up overcoming. But it's so much easier to handle that objection when you have certainty on the program. When you know this guy 100% feels good about the program, then it's really only the only variable left to handle is the price. Versus what most closers do is just present the program, answer some questions, and then drop the price. And then there's like thousands of objections from all different angles. You don't know what to handle. So that's why you need to make sure that you have certainty on the program, and then the only variable that's left to handle is the price. So you'll see exactly how I do this.
I want to be making money by day 30, and that's my goal. So I'm going to, of course, be wondering how I can do that if that's possible. And I'll be willing to put in the time and effort to do that.
Yeah, man, I look at it like this, as I said, before, like, it's all self-paced. Like, we have people come in here, like, when I did this personally, I was an opportunity to buy day 21 of starting the program. So it's like,
Nice.
some people do it slower as well. Like, it's fine in a way, but that's the first thing you do when you come in, is that you sit down with your coach and lay out your game plan. So you tell them, like, I'm willing to put in as much time as it takes. I want to get to 10K, and just down to you.
Of course, I'm sure that's like the number one question. How much, is it based off of phases? Yeah, but that one question's driving me crazy.
And just down to you for you to put in the work and follow the process to get there.
Yeah, but that one question's driving me crazy. Is how much it costs. Of course, I'm sure that's like the number one question. How much, is it based off of phases? Is each phase a different price? Is it the whole thing, one time paid? How does that work? I'm sure you're going to get to that.
Yeah, I'll walk you through it. So make sure first, like, you feel confident about this, because then, like, if you don't feel like this is actually what you need, like, it does make sense to talk about enrollment as well. But if you feel confident about this, man, do you want to talk about how you can get started with it?
Cool. So here, like, most closers would be just like, either just like drop the price or get nervous or get thrown off. You see, like, I'm very calm, very collected here. Like, yeah, totally fine. We'll get into the price. I just want to make sure that's actually like it's a good fit for you before we get into the price, which it makes sense. Like, why would you just talk about the investment and like buy something that you don't actually believe in? So that's how I handle it. Very like relaxed, calm. I keep like that leadership position on the call. I don't start like motivating to him like why I'm not getting even the price. Like, yeah, man, we'll get to the price. I just need to make sure this is actually a good fit for you before, so we actually do something that's going to help you, and then we get into price. And then I ask him as well, do you want to talk about the investment? Yeah, cool, we get into it. That's how you should always handle whenever someone starts pushing for the price, whatever part of the call it is. You always want to be like relaxed, calm, collected, just give him a short reason why, and then just move back to your call process.
Yeah, I'm ready for that.
3 steps. First thing that you do is deposit the investment with me. I take care of all the enrollment. After that, we book in with your first call with your coach right away. So you meet up with them, you lay out your game plan moving forward, what your next 30, 60, and 90 days are going to look like to the program. I give you extra program as well right away, so you're able to hit the ground running, start getting to work towards landing your position, and scaling this to eventually get to 10K per month right away. Investment to get it there.
Cool. This is a key thing that I did right now. Right? A lot of people miss this. Before you drop the investment on a closing call, always give them next steps before you do that, okay? Super, super crucial. When you don't do this, it's almost like the prospect is like jumping off a cliff, When you just give people the price without them knowing exactly what's going to happen, like after you actually pay, they feel like they're just like throwing out 5K or 10K and they don't know what's going to happen next, When you bridge that gap in their mind and you tell them, like, you're going to pay and then this is going to happen, and you tell them exactly the next steps before they even know what the investment is, it kind of makes them, it kind of puts them to ease. You know, they know what's going to happen next. They know, okay, when I pay this money, this is what's going to happen. And it just usually removes the fear that you would otherwise get when you drop the price. And they just hear like this big amount, and they just feel like I'm going to drop this amount, and then I don't know what's going to happen. You know, so this is something that I always implement. Tell them next steps before you drop the investment every single time.
It's a one-time investment of 10K USD. But what we're doing right now, because we appreciate people who are direct with us, people who are decision makers and making effective decisions. On this call, I can actually take 1.2K off the top, and let's get started for a one-time investment of 80. How does that line with you?
One thing that I notice I do on this call, that's actually I'm going to call out myself, is I'm having my hand on my shin like this, which kind of makes me look a bit like insecure and things like that. Something that I did because this was quite some time ago, like 2 years ago, I took this call. So since then, I've obviously like improved my closing a lot. But that's something I noticed I was doing on these calls back when I was new in closing. I would just have my hand like this. I don't know why. I think it was like a bad habit that I was doing, and this makes you look a bit insecure. So be really aware of your body language on your sales calls. Make sure you don't do stuff like that because it makes you look insecure. It makes you look less like a leader on the call. So you want to be really aware of that stuff because that like your body language signals a lot to the prospect. Now what's gonna happen is my internet cuts out there, so you'll see what happens.
Can't do it today. So I'd have to basically treat it like school. And yeah, you'd have to give me till Tuesday and I could do the 10K. I'd have to get a
All right, so we drop the price. First thing it tells me I can't do it today. I need to wait until Tuesday. And then my internet drops, so we'll just skip forward here a bit. So this is a really crucial part of the call because what this guy is saying is like he's kind of implying that he wants to do this, but he can't start until Tuesday because he needs to get a loan to cover the investment of the program. Okay, and nothing personal about this guy that I'm talking with, but I've taken so many calls, like thousands and thousands of calls, and I've seen a pattern where like people they don't end up coming back. You know, he's like, yeah, I'm gonna get a loan. He hops off the call. We book a follow up. He's not gonna come back. You know, so again, nothing personal about this guy, but I've like seen like more people than not end up not coming back when they say they want to wait because again fear comes up. You know, they hop off the call, they realize shit, it's a big investment. They're no longer talking with me. They have like their old ways of thinking. You know, like their old 1.0 version of themselves. You know, like the old version of themselves that have all these problems and are financially stuck and things like that start making decisions for them, and they end up getting stuck and like just holding themselves back, getting scared, and then they end up not showing up to the next call and just like backing out basically. So that's why we don't just let him off the call and yeah, we're gonna book a follow up. I'll see you on Tuesday. We don't do that because more often than not, he's just gonna like disappear and not come back, and obviously then we're not helping him. So that's why we're going to handle this now. And what you guys see me do first thing here is like it's very detached energy. You know, he's like, yeah, I can't do this. I need to wait. I need to get money. Cool, no worries, man. Other than the money, like, how do you feel about this? So detached. You don't want to be like, okay, we need to do this right now, or like start pushing him. Like, why do you want to wait? Or like, what's going on? First things is like diffuse the pressure. Okay, got it. No worries.
I have access to it. I just have to process it.
What do you mean by process it?
It would be I would have to get another 9,000 in loans to pay it off at one time, which it's available. I'm already approved. I just haven't accepted it.
Where you think you have to take out a loan to do that, or like what do you mean?
Yeah. Yep.
Now it's just clarifying. You know, whenever someone gives you like vague stuff, is like, yeah. First thing I asked him like, do you have access to it, or is this doable for you financially? He's like, yeah, I'd have to take out a loan. Okay, got it. Like, what do you mean? So you don't have access to it personally? No, I don't. Okay, got it. And then he's like, yeah, I need to process it. Okay, what do you mean by like what does process it mean? Like, there's a lot of like these unclear things people need to clarify. Again, big thing I see a lot of closers make the mistake of doing is they don't clarify on this stuff. You know, you get to the end of the call, someone gives you an objection, you don't really understand like exactly what the objection really is. You end the call, and they end up just ghosting you, or you book a follow up call and they don't show up, or whatever it is, because you didn't actually figure out what the real objection was. You know, by just clarifying, asking like, what do you mean when you say this, is clarifying what they're saying. A lot of times it will give you exactly the real objection, and you will end up being able to handle it as well. So that's really what I'm doing right now, just like clarifying and really understanding like what's going on, like what's the actual real objection for this guy before we handle it. Super key thing.
Okay, yeah, gotcha, man. So, and like, without having to do a loan, like, is that something that you have access to in terms of like what you have access to on your end with like savings and stuff, or would you have to take out a loan to this?
I would have to take out a loan.
Cool. We clarify, does he have access to it on his own, or do we have to take out a loan? That's a big thing as well. Taking out a loan is a pretty big thing for people to do, paying interest and all that stuff. So I want to figure out like, could it cover this without getting a loan or not?
No worries, man. So like, I don't want you to like necessarily have to take a loan if that's, but like, do you mean like with this? Because I can tell you, man, like we never had someone who like really wanted to do this, and then like money held them back from being able to start the program. So for you, man, like let's say like money aside for a second, are you 100% sure that you want to do this program?
Yeah, I would love to. I feel like, I mean, like I said, I've thought about it for a long time, and it's time to actually do it. And I think I really believe that I'm capable of doing it. And I'm not just saying that. Like I said, like I'm one of those people who's more, reserved because I've done that. I'm going to law school. Got my bachelor's degree. I've done all that stuff and made mistakes. So I like to think things through. And so, like I said, I've already thought it through about how badly I want it and what would be a cutoff, and I think I would make it worth it for me.
Okay.
I really feel that way.
Now I'm just tying down that other than the money, other than obviously he doesn't have access to the full amount of money without getting a loan, is this guy 100% sure still that he wants to do this program? We need to get that 100% conviction, like confidence from him that other than the money he wants to do this before we handle the money. Again, it's all about just like eliminating all, like kind of closing these doors, that could be open. Instead of going into handling the money objection and giving him a payment plan, while he's still like looking to talk to his partner or still looking to wait 24 hours or still unsure about or still has questions about the program. We want to close all of those doors and only handle like one of them, like one of those objections before. We want to make sure that we only have one objection before we handle it. Basically, that's what I'm doing right now. So that's really key because if we go into handle the money, we give him a payment plan, but he's still looking to talk to his spouse or still looking to like ask more questions. It's going to be hard to close him. So we want to do that first. We want to eliminate all other objections, make sure he's confident. And I do this twice as well. I ask him, other than the money, are you 100% sure about this? Got it. So money aside, are you 100% in? Key thing is I ask that in a very certain, direct way. So that makes it so that if he's unsure at all, if there's any uncertainty, he's going to tell me. That's what we want. We want to hear what his uncertainty is. We don't want to like just hide it and just like cruise past and close him. We want him to tell us what the uncertainty is because that's the only way we can handle it.
Organize mine, like money aside, are you 100% in?
Yeah.
Money aside, are you 100% in? Super key how I say that. Directness, no fluff, no like, okay, so if money wasn't a problem, would you want to do this? Or like, if you had the money, would you want to do this? No. Money aside, are you 100% in?
Okay, cool. So if you feel like money is like the only thing that's kind of preventing you from like being able to start with it, like do you want to look into how we can like make something happen for you, maybe like break it up to make that not a problem for you so you can actually get started with everything today? Or
I'd rather do it at one time.
So here what I'm asking him is basically so if money is the only thing holding you back, do you want to look into and see if there's a way we can figure this out to make it doable so you can get started again today and fix the money issue? We want to, again, this emphasis that we're doing this today, And the reason why we're doing that again is to vet out uncertainty, because if this guy is still in a mindset of like, yeah, I want to think about this, I want to wait on this and do this in 24 hours, then we're not going to be able to close him by just giving him like a payment plan, We want to actually figure out that truly money is the only thing holding him back from buying today before we handle the money. So we go really hard on that. And you should do the same thing with any objection, like talking to your partner aside, would you want to start doing this today? Would you want to invest and pay me right now on this call if it wasn't for this X, Y, and Z objection? We want to go super hard because that way we can actually vet out and get him to tell us the other uncertainty. So you're going to see me keep coming back to this. Is super crucial.
It would make me feel more comfortable. It would be actually more beneficial for me that way because I could break it up into monthly payments that way, and it'd probably work out better for me to do it that way. Paying. What's that?
To do it what way? I'm not following.
To get that loan for the additional money that I need, and then I'd be paying about like $150 a month, and then just make a one-time payment on Tuesday.
Okay. I guess I'm a bit confused. Like, what's the benefit of taking out a loan instead of looking at how we can break it up for you?
I guess I'm confused.
To break it up like this, I'll be able to see where things are at, and then based on that, we can together figure out a plan of how you can be able to get started with this without having to necessarily take out a loan, so you don't have to pay that interest on a loan.
So now what we're doing is we're getting into figuring out a payment plan for this guy. So key thing here that I'm doing is I position this in his best interest. So instead of telling him like, yeah, tell me your expenses and your exact like economical situation right now, your finances right now, and I'm gonna give you a payment plan. What I do instead is I position it in his best interest. So I'm like, yeah, we have solutions that we can like help people get into in terms of breaking it up and giving like investment options, but it's gonna be customized based off of what you need. So are you open to having a transparent conversation about your finances to see like where things are at, so we can then figure out a way for you to get started with this? As you can see, I'm positioning this whole thing that we're gonna do right now in terms of basically just going in and getting him to tell us about his entire finances. I'm positioning that in his best interest, you know, because he's already told us like 2 or 3 times now that I want to do this. It's just the finances holding me back, you know, which is why I have the permission to now asking about literally like very personal stuff here about exactly how much money he has in the bank, etc. Because he's told me, Alex, I want to do this, and I'm telling him like, yeah, by having this exercise right now where I'm going to ask you about how much money you actually have access to, you're going to get what you want, which is getting into our program in a way that suits you financially. So that's crucial stuff. You can't do this investment options thing right here if you don't have the ammo of them having told you multiple times that, Alex, I want to do this. It's just the money holding me back.
Some a unique situation because right now I don't have any income, so that's why I don't feel comfortable doing it that way. So I'd
Definitely.
have to say,
Don't need to have any income. We can just map this out based on the situation. My goal is, you told me that you money aside, you want to do this. My goal with this is just to help you figure out a plan that can fit where you're at. So you can
Okay.
be able to start with this, start working towards your goals with the program.
okay,
So you want to map it out and see what we can figure out for you? Or?
yeah, let's see. Definitely.
So in terms of well, such income is zero, right? In terms of expenses, how much is that on a monthly basis right now, roughly?
About 600, no, 700 a month.
700. Got it. And then you said are you like interviewing for different jobs, or would you plan to just go all in on this? Started?
So here you see me get extremely specific on exactly what he has. I literally find out exactly how much he has, exactly where he has the money. We want to get very, very clear on these different things. And the way that I can get this information is, like I said before, number one, by having all of this trust built with him from earlier in the call, and also because he's told me multiple times that he wants to do this, he's got money holding him back, and he feels like this is in his best interest to do as well, which is ultimately it is, because I need to figure out his financial situation to be able to give him a good payment plan that's actually going to work for him, you know. So it's all about helping this guy. And also because of my energy, you know, how I show up as a leader with confidence on the call, that also helps me to ask these very personal things. Because if you show up to a call and you're like, hey man, so could you like share your finances so we can like give you like a payment solution? If you ask them like in a very insecure way, people are not gonna tell you these things, you know. So you need to be a certain leader, have that like assertive energy of like, okay, we're gonna figure this out together, and having that like leadership energy is also gonna help you to actually get these responses right here, so you can actually figure out the situation and then give them a payment plan.
Lisa, got it.
Man, can I actually make the payment tomorrow though?
Like what? Like why? I'm not following.
I have to deposit into my account.
Yeah, deposit into your account. Like what do you mean?
I have to like transfer it from one account to the other.
Yeah.
I mean, I could probably do it this afternoon if it goes through this afternoon.
What do you need to move it from like from one account to another, or like what's...
Yeah.
Okay, but I mean that's instant on pretty much all banks.
No, I gotta go deposit it like physically from a check to my account. It should go through today though.
Didn't you just tell me that you had 2K in checkings right now?
Again, this is why it helps so much to actually get clarity and complete context. Because now when he's telling me like, yeah, Alex, I need to deposit money into my bank account to pay this, it's like he has literally just told me earlier that he has $2,000 right now in his checking account. So yeah, it doesn't make any sense for him to just change this up. So that's why you need to have these things earlier. You need to get this context here before you move into the finances, before you're taking the payment. And because now I can just call him out. Like you just told me before that you had 2K, and now you don't have it. Like what do you mean? You know?
Not right now. I can have it in by like today or tomorrow.
Okay, so how much do you have in checkings currently?
Right now, about one. Let me see. Let me check it real quick.
So basically, we find out that he actually has 1211 in his checkings right now. So he didn't have like the full 1.5K to actually like make the first investment and get started. So what I do then is I just go for doing a deposit, you know, because we don't want to get off a sales call and with him not having any skin in the game. Because what's going to happen in that case, again, he's going to hop off the call. He's going to have second thoughts. It's going to be like fear. All decision-making patterns is going to come back up. It's going to hold him back from actually taking action. So we go to deposit. We go for a deposit. You will see exactly how I frame the deposit right now. So I go for the deposit to actually get him to commit somewhat to the call. And then what happens, he tells us that he's actually unsure, that he actually wants to think about this, and then we get the real objection, you know? This is why you always need to push for commitment on the first call. And again, you want to do this in the right way. You don't want to just like force people to commit. You want to actually be curious and like figure out like what's the thing that people are unsure about. But if you do this, if you actually go for the deposit when someone is like, they're telling you that they can't commit, he has 1.2K in his account. So I just get creative here, you know. I'm like, okay, we're gonna do 1K now, so you can actually get started, and we'll do the remaining $500 later, you know, no problem. That's totally fine. And then he's like, yeah, you will see what he says, and then we just handle that actual uncertainty that comes up now at this point.
And it's mailed to my mom's house.
In that case, what we'll do is maybe make a simple focus with in terms of the discount we're doing. That's something we do like because we like on these calls I can take that off the top. And so in that case, man, that's totally fine. What we'll do in that case, we can just I'll get you in for the 1K now, get the extra thing, set you up with the coach, get you booked in so you can start training up and everything. And then we can just take care of the remaining 500 like later today, when you had a chance to go to the bank and just deposit that a check. That's totally fine. I can work with you on that. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I mean, look, I gotta be really honest with you. I need to think about this. I really do.
Sure. That's totally fine. I
Do you think
appreciate
you could give me
being-
24 hours to really think?
Yeah, man, totally. Like, no worries. I said I appreciate you being transparent and like telling me what's actually coming up for you. So what do you feel like is keeping you from being less than 100% sure that like this is the right thing and now it's the right time to get started with this?
Cool. This is key. Like how I handle this. He actually like opens up and is like, yeah, I'm not sure about this. Like I don't know if I want to do this. I feel kind of pressured. What I don't do here and what most people do wrong is they just like start pushing. You know, they're like, okay, what are you sure about? Tell me what's going on. What you need to think about. You can notice me here, like very, very leaned out energy. Sure, no worries, man. What do you feel like is coming up for you? Like, what do you feel like you're kind of unsure about? Or even before I said, I also asked him like, okay, or I also told him like, I appreciate you sharing that, and like, I appreciate you telling me what's coming up for you. Very, very leaned out. You don't want to be like pressuring him at all when he says that. You want to like really lean out, make him feel like he has a lot of space, talk slower, have that like detached tonality. It's gonna make him feel like he has a lot of space and doesn't feel pushed. You know, super key.
I just want to be
And I just ask him, okay, so what is it you feel like is coming up for you? What do you feel like is keeping you from being less than 100% sure that this is the right thing and now it's the right time? Pretty broad question is getting him to like tell us his uncertainty, because I need to think about it. When he says I want 24 hours, as we know, that's not a real objection. Okay, think about it's not a real objection. In like 99% of cases, he's like a smokescreen because he's unsure about something. He doesn't need more time to make a decision. He just need more information and more clarity and more certainty. So that's why I automatically just assume that, you know, I just, okay, God, man, no worries. So when you say you need to think about it, like what is it you feel like is keeping you from being less than 100% sure? And he tells me an objection right away. That's like the easiest way to handle that objection.
good with myself and in my heart, you know? I don't know if that makes sense, but I'd like to think about it outside the call, talk about it with my girlfriend, you know, be just clear all those little edges, you know, kind of sand them down. Just I'm 100% ready. I just don't want to have anybody mad at me, you know?
I'm not sure if I understand. Can you expand what's your concern exactly?
I just want to have some time to like, I guess, pray on it, you know?
He told me he wants to talk with his girlfriend. He wants to think it over. He wants to pray on it. Like we have like 3 or 4 different objections here, you know, kind of all over the place. So I'm just gonna keep clarifying until we actually find out like what the real thing is, like what he's actually unsure about. And it sounds like it's just fear. It's like him being nervous. He wants to make sure he's making the right decision. That's really what it all comes down to.
Basically just because I don't like making a decision, you know, right there when I'm on the call, right on the minute, on the spot. Like I don't feel comfortable with that.
Okay. So it's just like a little bit.
And this comes up, you need to just be very aware of like how people are showing up on the call. You know, you can notice like how when someone just like gives you a bunch of different things, I want to do this and that and that. It's usually just because like they want to make sure that they're doing the right thing. You know, they will talk with their girlfriend, want to pray on it, they want to meditate because they just want to make sure that they're doing the right thing. They want confirmation from the outside that they're doing the right thing because they're scared. You know, which is funny because like it might be the first time that you've ever like a lot of these people, it's the first time that they've ever invested into like a high ticket coaching program. So they just want that. They just need that confirmation, like they're actually doing the right thing. It's actually gonna like work out, and they're actually gonna put their money in the right place. You know, so that's why we handle now. Is just like the nerves and the fear, and then we end up closing him.
Of nerves, like a little bit of
Yeah,
like, you're
yeah,
taking the best side for it.
yeah. It feels like I just want to have some of the pressure off, you know, and not feel so pressured to where like I could just have time to think for myself and be like, okay, I'm doing this because I really want to, not because I'm being pressured.
Okay.
Like I'm sure I want to, but it's more of just a surety thing, you know?
Okay. I mean, I hear on that, and like usually,
Cool. So he told us it's just nerves, it's just fear, and then like we'll close. I close every single time someone is just like nervous or just a bit scared. I close those people every single time because that's an easy objection to handle. It's just about like helping them understand that they're supposed to feel that way, it's supposed to feel scary, and it's reframing how they think about fear essentially at this point. And when he mentions also like the pressure thing of him feeling a bit pressured, you will see how I handle this. I have a really good way of handling when someone says like, "Yeah, I feel like you're pressuring me." You'll see this.
there's like 2 different types of pressure. There's like internal pressure, and then there's external pressure. Internal pressure is when your actions and your words aren't really aligned. For example, when you told someone you're going to do something, you told your parents or your girlfriend you're going to do something, and you aren't actually owning up to your word, then you're going to have internal pressure. Where you're going to feel, for your own reasons, you're going to feel like, shit, I should have done this thing, but I didn't actually do it. So I'm going to go out with the trash, I'm going to do something, and you haven't actually done it. That pressure is going to be on the inside of you until you have actually aligned your actions with your words.
Hmm.
That's natural to feel, because like on this call as well, when you told me earlier that you felt confident about this process, you told me 100% this is what you want to do, it's the right thing. We worked it out financially. And after that, it's natural to feel like internal pressure because it's at the end of the day, it's for your own reasons. External pressure is me like being on this call and like, dude, you have to do this. Like, I'm gonna kill you if you don't do this, whatever it is, you know.
Hmm.
Like it's two different things.
I get that. Yeah,
But at the
definitely.
same time,
It's
I also
internal.
realize
It's
the fact that,
internal.
yeah,
This is extremely easy and good way to handle. I feel like you're pressuring me right now because it lands very well if you do this in the way I did right now. Is just two different types of pressure. You have external pressure, internal pressure, and then you say what I said right now. Internal pressure is when you actually want to do something for your own reasons and like just holding yourself accountable to what you said you want to do. External is if I or someone else is forcing you to do it. You know, it's gonna kind of realign it because he's feeling pressure right now. He's feeling like shit. I need to do something. But what he's not realizing is that pressure is built by him himself, you know, because he told me early on this call that he has all these goals, all these things that he wants to do. He's ready to take action. He told me all these different things. We figure out the finances, like everything is just like lining up for him to do it. But he's still saying that he wants to push it off. So the reason why he's feeling pressure right now is because he said everything that just lines up to him taking action to start, but he's not doing it. So it's a pressure that's created by him internally. It's not me pushing him into doing something. That's super, super key because a lot of people will just feel pressured and they don't know why. And if you don't handle this in the right way, they will feel like you're pressuring them and they will like hang up the call or like whatever it is, they will close down. So it's important to handle this specific like objection in the right way and just reframe them, like just getting them into the right way of thinking about pressure essentially. That's it.
at the same time, I also want to rely with the fact that like you told me that you felt really, really confident about the process. 100% what you want to do, you feel like it's right.
And then you tie it back to what they told you before and holding them accountable to their words and having their actions and their words align, which is really what a sales call is all about.
Thing what you to your goal. And when it comes down to making the decision and actually owning up to it and taking the responsibility, it is always scary to take the first step. But I like to think about it like this: you kind of at the bridge now, right now, where everything that you want, just having the freedom.
So now I just handle the objection basically. I just put it back on him. It's all about you holding your word to yourself. And then I start telling him about like the fear reframe, which is basically I just give him an analogy of walking across a bridge. You know, you're at a bridge right now with the reality and like the things that you want is on the other side. What's in between is the fear, nerves, all the things that you need to walk through to get to the other side. Either you can stay where you are and stay in the shitty situation that you're in, or you can walk across this bridge, experience the fear, nerves to get to where you want to go. What you want to do. That's basically what I do right now to just reframe how he looks at fear and what he needs to do to get to his goal.
And flexibility, being able to have more income, having more flexibility, kind of being your own boss, all those things are on the other side of this bridge. What is in between is it's those feelings, you know, being a bit scared, being a bit nervous. That's why a lot of people, like 99% of people out there, they have big goals, but they never actually get there because they aren't willing to do what is actually required to pass this bridge. So now you have to kind of decide, do you think this type of person that you want to become, where you're being remote, you're making 10K a month, do you think the type of person makes decisions out of a place of fear and a place of being nervous? Or do you think they make decisions out of a place of vision and of the upside and potential?
I think it's more of a test on. I feel like if y'all feel confident enough to me to give me a day to think about it.
So that was a pretty good objection handling. You know, I just asked him a question, like basically gave him like kind of like identity question. You know, like who do you want to be? Do you want to be the type of person who lets fear hold them back, or the type of person that acts like the 10K month, 120K per year version of yourself that pushes yourself into the stuff that's scary and takes action, etc. And then now he's like, yeah, this is a test. I want to see if you guys can let me think about this. I want to see if you guys will push me or not, you know? Which you will see how I handle this in a very good way. Again, you want to stay detached and you'll see exactly how I do this.
And actually really decide rather than put me on the spot, then I'd feel way more comfortable because I feel like, the fact that's like, oh, you gotta do it right now, you gotta do it right now, you gotta do it right now. Like, I don't like that. I don't respond well to that. That's kind of pushing me away, to be honest. And so it was kind of like a test to see if y'all were like that. So, I mean, maybe we won't be the best fit.
Sure. You don't have to do this, like you don't want to.
I mean,
Like,
I do want to, but
I'm gonna be
I
like,
don't like that.
I don't need you to do this. Like I'm gonna be fine either way, but I'm just holding you accountable to your actions and your words. So, and that was what I was asking you. Do you feel like that type of person that you want to become? Do you think they make decisions out of fear and being nervous, or out of vision?
I'm a careful person. I mean, I feel like I've had a lot of security in the past, and I do feel confident in myself to make money in whatever I do. So I really do want to do this. And I mean, if you can't understand the fact that I just want a day to just let it sink in, soak it up, I believe you're giving me a great offer. But if I don't know, if I feel just not getting a good vibe off of that.
Okay. Yeah, man.
I mean, if you can't give me a day to think about it, then why not? Like, why don't you feel comfortable giving me a day to think about it?
I never said that you can't think about it, man.
Okay.
I
Like, I
said
really do want to do it.
I
I
was
just
telling you
want to.
multiple times, like I don't need you to do this, man. You don't have to do this. Like I'm just gonna
Yeah.
have more time your actions, your words align. Like I don't really
Here, key thing I'm doing, I'm just leaning out a lot, man. Like, I don't need you to do this. We need to clarify that, because this guy, especially, he's like, he very, very sensitive to like to pressure and things like that. So you just want to like clarify to them, you know, like I don't need you to do this. I'm gonna be fine regardless. This is why being detached as a closer is so important. You can say that with like genuine intention, like I don't need you to buy the program. I'm gonna be fine anyway. If you can come into all sales calls with that intention of like not needing any person, like coming in with the intention to help everyone and holding everyone like accountable to doing what they say they want to do, but not needing anyone, you will close a lot of people, you know? That's the highest level of sales where you can just hold people accountable to do what they say they want to do, but not needing any one sale, basically.
care if you do this or not. Like, it's not going to change anything for me. But what I'm not going to accept is you telling me, Alex, I 100% want to do this. I want to step up and make the commitment, and then not align your actions with those words. Like, you have to kind of decide as
All
well.
right. Well, let me go ahead and align my actions with my words. Then let me.
This is key. Like sales is not about like you don't need him to buy as a closer, but what you need from every single person you talk with is you need alignment between their actions and their words. Should be your biggest takeaway from this video is that as a closer, what you're looking to get out of every single call, you're not looking for like a yes from everyone to buy, but you're looking for getting to the truth. Figuring out if the person you're speaking with is actually ready to align their actions with their words and do what they say they want to do. Being accountable.
Let me set that straight. I do want to do this, but I do want a day to think about it. Okay? I don't have to do this. Just like you don't have to accept me. Just like you don't have to help me out like you did. I understand that, but I would really appreciate it if you could just give me a day to think about it.
Yeah, that's fine. It's like no worries. You can definitely think about it. The thing is that usually when people want to think things over, usually what they really want is having more certainty in making the decision. But I also want to align with the fact that you going out and thinking this over, pondering about it, it's not going to make you more certain. So you're still going to feel the exact same way in terms of being a bit scared.
What I really want to do is just
take the first step. But those feelings are always going to be there. So the real question is like, when do you want to actually start working towards your goals? Because regardless if you do this today, or if you do this tomorrow, if you do this 1 month from now, those same feelings are always going to be in between you and achieving your goal. So the question is, when is the right time to start working towards your goals?
I'm starting right now, but the thing is, what I want to do first is plan out my money first for the next month. I want to sit there with a physical plan I could see, actually write it down when I have time to think, talk to my people, make sure everything's in line. And I'm sure it will be, but whenever I actually see it like that, I'll feel more comfortable.
So your concern is that like if you invested the 1,500, that will leave you in a bad spot financially
for the next week or so, yeah. But I don't think it will. I just need to see it. I just need to see it written out, written down. I just need to think about it. So I guess I don't know.
I'm not following. What do you mean exactly? Like you need to do. We mapped it out. You told you're getting a check for 1K in the next week. Like, do you think you're gonna have more expenses coming up in the next week, or like I'm not following?
I mean, yeah, you saw what I had in my account, but I also have to buy groceries. I have to buy, I have an event coming up with family that I'm gonna have to travel out of town for. So I just want to make sure I'm good there, and I'm confident I will be, but I just want to, make sure it's all lined up.
As you can see here, this all comes down to accountability. Like I'm holding him accountable to doing, and like basically holding him accountable to doing what he says he wants to do. And holding his actions in alignment with his words, and not accepting him just saying one thing but acting in a different way.
Right, man. I want to realign with the fact, man, like that you're never gonna be 100% sure. Like if you're gonna wait and try to like feel 100% confident in investing in yourself and taking the first step, like there's people out there who like who's waited their entire life to feel for everything to line up. Like you're never gonna feel 100% confident towards taking the first step. The question is like, are you going to move despite feeling a bit uncertain, or are you going to go out there and keep waiting to wait for everything to feel perfect before you ever start? Those are two different options. Because you can either be the type of person who just keep waiting for everything to feel perfect and everything to line up for you to ever start, or you can be the type of person who's able to push through that of being a bit uncertain, being a bit scared, everything not being absolutely perfect, but still taking the first step and actually start working towards your goals.
I don't think I'm going to do this. I'm not sure anymore. If I'm not 100% sure, I'm 90% sure. And it sounds like if I'm 90% sure, then this isn't going to work, and we're just going to keep going back and forth. If you can't tell, my mind's like in a jumble right now, trying to process all this, and I need to.
Because I can tell you, like you could literally be like, instead of being on the sidelines and like saying that you're comfortable, that confident you want to do this, but not actually doing it, you could actually take the first step. And when you go to sleep tonight, you can know that you actually did everything in your power to actually work towards your goals, and not just be one of those people who actually talk about it, but be someone who's actually doing it as well and actually aligning your actions and your words. And I will argue that like actually doing it as well and actually aligning your actions and your words. And I will argue that like that's my biggest concern. When I look back at things like 6 months from now, 12 months from now, I would rather like have done everything in my power to achieve my goal, even if it doesn't work out, instead of just being inside of my comfort zone and not even taking steps towards where I want to go. Because those are the two different things.
All right, let's do it.
Are you sure?
Yeah, sure. I've been sure. I just wanted to. I told you I was sure before. I just wanted to think about it, and I was holding myself back. I'm still sure. I'm sure. Let's go.
There we go. We just shifted his way of thinking here. Got him to realize like if he keeps making decisions from the same place he's been making decisions his entire life so far, it's gonna get him more of the same results. he needs to change how he fundamentally makes decisions to get a new outcome. And this landed extremely well with this guy. When he understood this, he's like, yeah, let's go. You know, because he already knew that this was the right thing for him to do. He was just like stuck in his old patterns of like how he used to making decisions, and that's why he was stuck. So this was extremely good, this last part right here, where he has shifted his whole way of thinking. He's like, let's do it, and then we just close the deal. So you'll see me taking payment now. If you want to learn sales from me one-on-one and get coached by me like this, have me review your calls, teach you sales and objection handling one-on-one, and also get access to my network of job opportunities within remote high-ticket sales, you can apply to get coached by me one-on-one in my inner circle. Download this video by booking a call. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Ciao.